In ancient Rome, women played various roles and had different levels of rights and opportunities depending on their social status. Here is an overview of women in ancient Rome. In ancient Rome, women had different roles about their social status, citizenship and legal rights, marriage and family, education, work and occupations, religion and priesthood, clothing and appearance. First of all, social status. Women's experiences varied greatly based on their social status. There were three main classes: the patrician class, which wealthy aristocrats, the plebeian class, which were commoners, and the slave class. Roman society is, by definition, a patriarchy where either the father or the husband had the central role, both in society and family. Men were citizens of Rome, while women were citizens only through the extension of their male relatives. Despite such a limited role and a life confined to the household, Roman women still managed to gain influence in the Roman Empire and at times even decide the fate of the state. As in most ancient cultures of the time, the difference between the life of a poor Roman woman versus a rich one were significant. However, both rich and poor Roman women were primarily raised indoors. For rich women, this indoor lifestyle usually continued into adult years. For poor women, this was not the case, as they would need to work sometimes as hard and as much as men to help support the family. As in most ancient cultures of the time, the differences between the life of a poor Roman woman. Second is citizenship and legal rights. Roman women, regardless of their social status, did not have full citizenship rights. They were not allowed to vote or hold political office. However, they could own property and engage in business transactions. Due to the fact that the Roman family has a patriarchal structure, women's rights were kept quite limited, especially during the early founding periods of Rome. Women did not have political rights. They could not vote. They could not hold office in the state. The first and oldest form of guardianship over women was tutellegetma. According to this, a man, based on the closet paternal sovereignty of a woman, would be appointed guardian to his kinswoman. In fact, this legal representative was appointed to protect family property in order to prevent these goods from leaving the family. In the eyes of Roman law, women were not equal to men. Women were not considered full-fledged citizens of the Roman Empire, but were citizens only in connection to other men. For example, a daughter or wife could be Roman citizen through the citizenship of her father or her husband. This legal inequality also had practical implications. Marriage and family. The main role for Roman women was as wives and mothers. Marriage was an important social institution, and women were expected to marry and bear children. They often married at a young age, typically in their early teens, and were subject to the authority of their husbands. Divorce was possible, but generally more difficult for women, unfortunately. In the old legal era, the marriage ceremony was usually held together with the transfer of manus. A married woman whose husband has the status of a family son came under the rule of her husband's family father. Her husband's sister, if his wife is a family father, she would also have the status of a family son. In both cases, the sovereignty established over the married woman was called manus. The family man has maintained this power over the members of the family members for centuries. The Roman woman also remained under the guardianship of the man during this whole process. Education. Education for women in ancient Rome was limited compared to men. Wealthy girls from noble families could receive a basic education at home, focusing on reading, writing, and basic arithmetic. Some women from prominent families also had access to private tutors. However, formal education in subjects like philosophy or rhetoric was typically reserved for men. As a woman's life would revolve mainly around the house, her general education wasn't a point of interest. Usually it included skills needed for running a household and raising the children. For middle to high class girls of the Roman Empire, education comprised the basic skills of reading, writing, and some mathematics. These skills were taught so that the girls would be able to manage a household and its expenses, be good wives, and be entertaining companions to their husbands. Because these were the aims of a girl's education, Romans believed that anything going beyond the fundamentals could become unpleasant and even dangerous. It was thought that the more educated a woman, the more pretentious she will become, which would lead to difficulties. Work and occupations. Women in ancient Rome could be engaged in a variety of occupations. Some women, particularly those from lower classes, worked as laborers, servants, or in the agriculture sector. Wealthy women often managed their households and estates, overseeing domestic affairs and slaves. Religion and priesthood. Women played a significant role in Roman religion. They participated in household religious rituals and had their own festivals and cults. Some women held positions as priestesses and played an important role in religious ceremonies. Clothing and appearance. Roman women wore tunics, stolas, which were long dresses, and pallas, which were shawls. The style and quality of their clothing varied based on their social status. Women from wealthy families often adorned themselves with jewelry, cosmetics, and elaborate hairstyles. In conclusion, it is important to note that these generalizations may not apply to all women in ancient Rome, as social status and individual circumstances could greatly impact their experiences. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching.